Hi, everybody. This is it. I'm Dr. Kevin Leman. We're going to be talking about Have a New Kid by Friday. You're the participant. You're going to use these little books to have a new kid by Friday. We got a 5-day plan for you to turn your kid around. His attitude, his behavior, his character. Now, that's a tall order. But I'm telling you, for those of you who are fighting the real things of life every day, you're going to enjoy Have a New Kid by Friday. Oh, and by the way, you're going to see some little vignettes. Any resemblance to you or your kids in these little vignettes is thoroughly coincidental. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, and welcome to Have a New Kid by Friday. I have to tell you this, that these books are scams. Scams, because you don't have to wait till Friday, okay? You could have a new kid by Wednesday. You could have a new husband by Friday, It doesn't take long. We've been duped in our society to think that behavioral change has to take a long time, see the shrink forever, and all those kinds of wonderful things. And I found that in my own life. I'm the father, by the way, of 5 kids, okay? So I'm an old grizzled veteran. Our last one, little Lauren, finally went off to college this year. So, I mean, take a good look at me. I'm near death, and the nest is finally empty. But I promise you that we're gonna have fun in this series. You know, you got a study guide to use, and I want you to use that little puppy, okay? So that you end up becoming a better parent. And are you gonna be a perfect parent? No. But Mrs. Uppington and I, well, that's my pet name for my lovely bride. Her name is Sandy, but I call her Mrs. Uppington because she is the classy one of the two of us. She's the firstborn. She knows exactly how life ought to be. She wouldn't be caught dressed like me ever. That's just the way it is. In fact, my fear is someday I'm going to be lying in my coffin and she's going to be peering over me saying, "You are not wearing that, Kevin Leman." But anyway, I digress. Sandy and I have been married for 44 years in a row. And that's the hard part, you know, the in a row part. And with 5 kids, I mean, you learn a few things. Our oldest daughter, Holly, must have read the birth order book because she's the English teacher by trade. She knows what a dangling participle is, okay? And she's a principal of a tough school, you know, where the kids come from a little rougher neighborhoods than most, and parents aren't always the most engaged, and she does a great job. And she is married to Dean, and we love Dean. He's a perfect fit for Holly. And we practiced on her just like you practiced on your firstborn, okay? If you're a firstborn child, you're the lab rat of the family. But and then we had Chrissy, okay? And Chrissy is married to Dennis, and she's got 2 kids, little Connor and Adeline, and they live a mile from us. So we're now at the stage where we're grandparent and parent. You never stop being a parent. That's the interesting thing. I got kids from 39 to 19, okay? Chrissy has been an educator, a teacher, a curriculum director, and then she's one of those moms that made the tough decision when the kids came, when little Connor was born, she bailed out. And she said, "No, I'm gonna stay at home with these kids. That's gonna be my job in life." And now she's re-entering on a part-time basis teaching as the kids are getting a little bit older. We have one son, Kevin, who is a comedy writer and producer of the funniest program on daytime TV, and he's a trip. I mean, this is a kid that's won 6 Emmys. Now, if I sound like I'm bragging about my kids, I guess I am a little bit, but I want you to understand, because if I'm going to do a study guide on Have a New Kid by Friday, I'd like to know who this guy is that's teaching me and where he's been. So we've been through it. I picked up vomit and diarrhea, by the way. One of the joys of parenthood. But there's a sense of realness in this book. This book has sold over 700,000 copies, to give you an idea. If you know anything about the publishing industry, that's a pretty good hunk of change in terms of book sales. But anyway, Kevin is the only son, okay? And then we had our little surprise, Hannah. And Hannah now works in a ministry that deals largely with Africa, with orphanages. and she lives in Chicago with her husband, Josh. She's a great kid, got a great heart. She's got her mother's heart and then some. But we had her ladies at ages 42 and 44. My wife being 42, me being 44. So she was our little surprise. But then we had our shocker. I wish I could remember her name. And Lauren just went off to university this year, and she won an $80,000 scholarship out the door. And that's a pretty good accomplishment for a kid these days, winning that kind of a scholarship. And she's in graphic design, which is, by the way, a firstborn and only born occupation. And there she is, the baby of the family. Well, is she the baby of the family? No. She's like an only child who has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 parents. Do you understand that? So we've been through that. And as a parent, let me tell you something. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes just like the Leman family made. I remember one morning I had run over my daughter's feelings, my firstborn daughter, Holly, big time. And I think I knew I was wrong at the time. And so she teared up and she looked at me and she said, "You know what you ought to do?" And show you how stupid I am. I said, "What?" She said, "You ought to read your own book." Ooh, that hurt. But what I'm saying is there's freedom here for you as a parent. You're not always going to do things right. You're not always going to do things by the book because you're subject to your emotions.
Dad, I need some money.
For what? College?
Haha, very funny. No, I need some money because we're gonna go see a movie.
Sweetheart, you have some money.
Right. So if you could just give me like $10 or $30.
That's why you get an allowance, Shiloh. That's why you babysit, so that you'll have money for movies.
What? Dad, this is so stupid. You're so ridiculous. I can't even believe you. Can I borrow the car keys?
I mean, just go and have a seat at a local mall. Just relax, chill. Just sit there for 10 minutes and just watch. Watch that there are kids shorter than a yardstick in full control of the adults. After about 10 minutes, you'll know why some mothers eat their young. I mean, it's just the way it is. So today, things are out of control. Yes, kids are out of control, but parents are out of control. We talk about how kids have changed. Well, parents have changed. And you've got a big job to do. Now, you have to hear this really clear, okay? A big job to do. And here's the problem. You've got a small window to pull this puppy off because they grow up awful quick. Someone once said children are like wet cement. I always loved that expression. Did you ever see anybody work with wet cement? I mean, that stuff is malleable. You move it around. These guys put it, they call it mud, you know, the mortar. And they'll put it on this pie-shaped looking little sucker, and they can literally throw it on. I mean, I'm impressed that anybody can build anything. I can't build anything. I'm still memorizing the names of the tools, so when my wife wants something, I know to bring her the right tool. But here's the point. Today's kids are unionized, okay? They have a game plan. And here's my question for you. Do you have a game plan? See, most of us don't have a game plan. And that's part of what we're going to accomplish and have a new kid by Friday. You're going to walk out of here, you're going to have a little attitude. But you're going to have a positive attitude that I can do this. Is it easy being a parent? No, but it's simple. Is it easy being married? No, because women are weird. And men are strange. And by the way, God was the original humorist when he came up with this one, and the two shall become one. That's one of the funniest things of all God's word, I think. The two shall become one, because, I digress. I love to talk about women and men. But kids today view reward as their right, okay? You tell me, who brings the junk food home? You know, it's the parents. So you really have to take this to heart and realize that you have a lot more influence over your kids than you give yourself credit for. But I'm telling you, the ankle biter battalion is marching in your direction right now. Or the hormone group, you name it, okay? And they both have attitudes, and they both have a way of coming across that says, hey, listen, I'm in charge here. And we're going to tackle all those kind of things during this series. So I'm going to give you a plan that works, okay? And this is going to sound a little brash, but I guarantee it'll work. That's the fun part. I mean, it's fun to see, you know, the kids sort of, what's going on here? I mean, something's changing here. I mean, so many parents enter into this thing with an attitude of love, love, love. If I just love little Buford enough or love little Fletcher enough, everything will work out okay. Well, I got news for you. There's a wonderful biblical principle that says that love and discipline are inseparable. If you love your child, you will what? You will discipline your kid. But today's parents, I'm telling you, they want to be your best friend. If anybody's ever read a Leman book knows that they tend to be action-oriented, you know. And I've been speaking on this subject for so many years. And every place I speak now, I get introduced as a man of wisdom. They never said I had wisdom when I was young, and now I'm near death, I got wisdom. I think that meant we survived 5 kids. But, you know, I want to go back to those 5 kids, because we got 5 kids who love God. We got 5 kids who love their parents. We love 5 kids who love and support each other. I'm telling you, as a parent, it doesn't get better than that. It just doesn't. And again, I'm not raining on somebody who's got, you know, 2 for 5 or 2 for 4 or 1 for 3, because that's the way it is. You can be a great parent and you can do a lot of things right, and you still got a kid that's out in left field or right field. And sometimes they don't grow up until they're in their 30s. Some parents never get to see the change in their kid's life. But the guarantee here is that if you apply these principles, boy, you got a great shot at turning things around. When I think of speaking in McCormick Place in Chicago, Illinois. You ever been to that sucker? It is one big place. And I was talking about disciplining kids, and there was a woman in the front row, and I can still picture her to this day, who had a red sweater on. And I had been talking about simple things in life, like what happens, Mom, when the phone rings in your home, and it's for you, and it's an old girlfriend you haven't talked to in ages, okay? And I was just saying, I don't know who notifies the kids that Mom is on the phone, so now it's time to create our dog and pony show that is designed to interrupt Mom. And all I was doing was sort of having fun with the audience, and I was going, well, hi, how are you? Oh my goodness, it's so good to hear from you. Yes, Friday evening, well, Bob won't be home till Wednesday, but yeah. Hey, would you hold on for just a second? Would you kiss, please? Could I bring a salad? You know. And all I was saying was, it seems to me that a parent ought to be able to talk on their telephone without the dog and pony show interrupting it. True? True, yeah. Okay, so I went through this whole thing of what to do in that situation. Well, this same woman afterward, I'll never forget her. She came up to me and she was so excited. She said, I just loved this morning. It was wonderful. She said, I cannot wait for my kids to misbehave. I'm ready for them. And I think sometimes when we start this series, and again, we're just an introduction, but parents get so excited after just hearing one lesson, they go home and they say something like, all right, everybody in the family room now. Starting tomorrow morning at 0800, things are going to be different in this home. Now, I would urge you not to do that. The tendency is to no, I want you to walk through this series and get it all in your head and get your game plan together so you're not going off half-cocked, okay? So that you have the plan in mind, and if you're lucky enough to be married, that husband and wife are on the same page. Because there's one thing that can torpedo what we talk about is having one parent in left field and one in right. And the kids, I'm telling you, they have parental-like instincts. They will absolutely tear you apart if they see that. And so I was talking about this way of dealing with this situation on the phone, and about a week later, and this goes way back. This goes back to pre-computer days, okay? We're talking a long time ago. But I remember I used to get, stacks of mail. I've done Oprah lots of times in my life. The people I've done, I'm outliving all of them. Phil Donahue, I'm so old I did Donahue. Oprah, Regis just got off the air. I'm outliving them all. I'm still working for a living. But anyway, I was just talking about this situation, and this lady sends me a little shoebox card. I'm going through the mail. I see the Chicago suburb. And I said to myself, intuitively, I said, I know who that's from. I decided to open it up first. Dear Dr. Leman, I don't know if you remember me or not, but I was in the front row and I had a red sweater on. I thought, lady, I remember you. And she said, I got home that day, and it was ironic because that afternoon, I've got a phone call from a girlfriend I hadn't talked to in ages. And I started talking to them, and just like you said, they did their little dog and pony show. But she said, I did exactly what you said to do. Now, when I read that, I always get a little nervous because you don't know how people are going to react to that. She said, I got on the phone, and I just put the phone down, and I said, would you excuse me? I took little Brian and Ainsley, and I put them outside, and I closed the door, and I locked the door. She said, here comes the embarrassing part. She said, I forgot about them. It was some 40 minutes later when I just looked through the kitchen and out to the patio, and I saw a little hand on the window, and I said to my girlfriend, I said, excuse me, I forgot something. And the kids had found an old brown paper bag, like a grocery bag, and they had written with a dull pencil. And it tore it off like a shape of an oak leaf, like this. And at the top it said, Mommy, we love you. And then at the bottom it said, can we come in now? And it was just, I sent it back to her. I said, you got to put this in the kids' scrapbook someday. And by the way, it was Chicago in the month of March. And she went on to say that the next time the phone rang, they came to the central part of the house where the main phone was located and sat in opposite chairs with their arms folded. So what we talk about in this series is going to be action-oriented discipline. It's not going to be mamby-pamby type of discipline where we talk about how everybody feels about the situation. We're going to be action-oriented, okay? We're going to try to get resolution on about everything we deal with. So I'm going to give you a 5-day plan. I'm going to start on Mondays, and we're going to talk about a strategy that the kids have. Again, they view reward as their right, okay? They have a strategy, and the question is, do you? And I'm going to give you that strategy, and I'm going to give you the biblical basis for being a good parent. There's a lot of people who speak about being a good parent, and they use the Bible from beginning to end. I don't know where they get these verses from, because I've read that puppy. And there's very few verses in all of God's holy word that says, this is what you do as a parent. And my friend St. Paul, I never caught the guy's last name, but I owe him royalties because I ripped him off big time. Because he gave us great stuff to consider, not only on parenthood, but in marriage in the book of Ephesians. And I'm going to share that with you. And you're going to have a pretty good idea on Monday of where we need to go. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to be talking about the 3 things every parent wants for their kid. A positive attitude, positive behavior, and positive character, okay? And of those 3, guess which one's the toughest? Character. And you've got to live that life. More about that in that Tuesday session. And we're going to be talking about strategies that work for you, and they will work for you, okay, all the way down the line. And this is the guaranteed part. I mean, it's like the Midas muffler guarantee. You do these things, you keep your emotions in check, you don't overdo things, okay? And you're going to find great results. And then on the Wednesday part, we're going to talk about what kind of parent are you? Most of you grew up in authoritarian homes, okay? Now there's the authoritarian home, there's the permissive home, there's the authoritative home. And we're going to talk about which one of these styles really represent God's teaching, okay? There's only one right one. The other two are wrong. And we're going to examine that. Once you get a hang of that, you're going to find it's pretty easy, quite frankly. The Thursday part, we're talking about acceptance, belonging, and competence. And these are the ABCs of parenthood that I call them. You got to accept your kids. They're going to belong someplace, and they have to be competent. Not confident, competent, okay? They have to be good at something. Everybody's a somebody. And you are the best teacher to your child will ever have. So don't sell your words short. And then Friday, we're gonna launch a plan. And you're gonna see that victory is in sight. And I think this is when a parent really gets excited at that stage and they say, you know what? I think we can pull this off. And that's why I say you gotta wait until Friday to begin to launch the plan. And sit back and just enjoy this little puppy, okay? And you're gonna see, by you being a responsible parent, hanging in there, knowing when to pull the rug out and let the little buzzard tumble, when to take the little buzzard by the beak, when to give him what I call vitamin N, which is no, and every kid needs vitamin N, which is no, and vitamin E, encouragement. Guess what? You're gonna have a great shot at what? Having a new kid by Friday. So that's your introduction. Are you ready for Monday? I hope so.